The man who is joining us live from our Abuja studios is Eson Ogunleye, who at one time was the registrar and chief executive of the Chartered Institute of Bankers. Mr. Ogunleye, thank you very much, and we appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you very much. Morning.
All right, thanks, sir. I'm sure you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time. That at this point you ought to be at the venue of the event, but you've been very kind enough to come to our studios on camera in Abuja to talk to us about this event and a few other issues. Let's start from this conference, this two-day summit. Why is it significant, and what would you be talking about along with your colleagues?
Yes, obviously, this is the 9th annual Banking and Finance Conference holding in Abuja. But in specific terms, this year's edition is very unique in the sense that this time around we'll be talking about the imperatives of national rebirth concerning the economic development of Nigeria. And for the next 2 days, starting from about now, we will be discussing this very actively.
When you say national rebirth, are you guys taking that a little bit from the mouth of the president, Muhammadu Buhari himself?
You know, the banking industry does not exist in isolation. We tag along with whatever is happening within the national polity, as well as special focus on the banking and finance. I mean, knowing what degree of importance this means to everybody in Nigeria. The financial services industry is something that every home, every individual needs. Therefore, as the political environment is changing and the economic situation is also changing, the banking and financial services must change along with it in order to meet the dynamics of present-day requirements.
Okay, let's go back a little bit in time when the CIBN was set up and all of that. You spent many years of your life serving there until you retired a few years ago. And the motto of the industry, of the CIBN was trust and honesty. Is that still true today?
I would say yes, very much so, and even on a continuous basis. This industry is a very dynamic one, and therefore the operators require to be up and running with the consistency in changes that we do have from time to time. Therefore, the Institute of Bankers, representing the voice and the administration of banking generally, must be up and doing. Therefore, the place of professionals has to be done on a renewal basis, and that's why the annual conference has become part and parcel of the administration of banking in Nigeria.
Talk to us about down the years or the decades, almost 40 years since the CIBN, or the NIB as it was known back then, was established. Talk to us about the crusade for professionalism in Nigeria's banking industry. Talk to us a little bit about the journey so far.
Okay, to start with, the Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, under the changing scenarios that we've had, including starting from the Lagos branch of the London Institute of Bankers to Nigerian Institute of Bankers, and it emphasized into the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria way back in 1980, and subsequently the decree setting it up in 1980 under the military had to change and updated in year 2007 under Act 5, for which the Institute is operating upon now. But what had remained the same over the years is the assignment of the responsibility of the Chartered Institute of Bankers to continue to act as the body that regulates the skill, the education, the competencies of people who wants to be engaged in the business of banking. So in terms of operations and competencies that is required to make such operations, the Institute of Bankers is set up to administer, monitor, and the engagement of individuals that wants to be in the banking industry. And this has been expanded also to include various banking institutions as individual institutions, as members, including the Central Bank of Nigeria, NDIC, development banks, various other financial institutions, including mortgage institutions, microfinance banks. So it's all encompassing membership under the corporate level of membership. Then, of course, professional bankers, through their education, they're certificated. For instance, the certificate that is issued when you have completed the professional exam is ACIB, Associate of the Institute of the Chartered Bankers of Nigeria. And also, with your experience, you become a fellow of the Institute. But within the last few years, I would say in the last 15 years, the business of banking had become very, very topical for obvious reasons. In particular, the concern of ethics and professionalism in the country came to the fore. Well, this is not particularly peculiar to Nigeria, but in our local environment, the weight of banking is such that we had to match the concern. So what I can simply put as rising level of disputes between the banking public as individual customers to banks and banks had become increasingly worrisome in the light of the galloping number of cases that are in court, and that has increased the burden on our judicial system. That also impacts negatively on the perception of Nigeria itself, and it does affect, by extension, the inflow of investment, because no matter how lucrative the Nigerian business is, you have to consider so many things: the business environment, the judicial environment, the security, infrastructure, and all of that.